Welcome to Seattle College's international programs and our show Conversations With, where we talk to people that help you understand how you too can be an international student in the United States and why Seattle Colleges should be your first choice. We'll talk to students and staff and agents and government folks, all kinds of people about what you can expect when you're getting ready to apply or travel here, what you'll experience while you're with us, and how it can all lead to an amazing life. Don't forget to check out the Seattle College's International Programs website at intl.seattlecolleges.edu, where you can find a treasure trove of information about the school, the programs here, and best of all, fill out and submit your application. Again, that's intl.seattlecolleges.edu. Hey everybody, it's Evan Franulovich again with Conversations With here in Seattle Colleges. We are really excited to have Kamya back for her second visit. The first visit was actually a videotape. So this time it's more of a podcast, and we're going to do a series of podcasts with her. Why don't you take a second to introduce yourself to the audience, who you are and why you came here, and then that'll kind of catch them up.
Yeah. So I'm Kamya Malhotra. I am an international student from India. I chose Seattle Colleges because I'm 17, so I haven't finished my high school. So I'm doing my associate degree here, majoring in biochemistry. So once I'm done with the 2 years of that, I will also receive a high school diploma from Washington State High School.
Exactly.
So that is pretty cool.
It's so cool.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm saving a lot of time.
You're saving a lot of time and a lot of money, which is really great.
That's nice.
So I want to really focus on, if you don't mind, the high school completion piece of it, because it's something that we, marketing people, outreach, recruitment, we go out there. A lot of people just aren't aware that it even exists.
Yeah.
How did you find out about it? And what was it about it that was most compelling for you?
That's a good question. So my mom is friends with someone who lived in the U.S. for almost 3 decades. And she went back to India like a couple of years ago, and now she's helping. So her daughter, she got into Harvard, but she couldn't attend because of financial difficulties, but she still attended a UC.
Oh, okay.
That was pretty cool. So she knew a lot about the admissions process, and she was an employee at a major bank in the US, and so she dealt a lot with admissions officers regarding financial problems. So she was integrated into this quite well, and she went back to India, and now she's helping students who want to go abroad with resources and opportunities and basic admission stuff.
This was the woman I spoke with when we had our call.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
during the video call. Yeah. So so she's very knowledgeable about courses in the US. So she actually told me about this program, and that there are only a very few states which actually do this. So I chose Washington because I don't actually know, but I think because this was the only place which had like a proper city. Like the other one was, I think, Kentucky. But I don't think I would have integrated into that society very well because I'm from Bombay, so I'm used to the city life. So I thought, Seattle is the closest thing to that.
A little smaller.
Smaller, but it works.
How many people are in Bombay? What's the population?
I have
20 million? I know, it's crazy.
I have no idea. Yeah, it's that much.
Our whole state of Washington only has 5 or 6 million people.
Really?
It's pretty small.
Oh.
Yeah.
The state's quite big, but the
The
population...
state's very big.
Yeah.
Not many people.
Yeah. So she told me about it, and I dug into it, and I found that it is actually a very good opportunity, and it'll save me time, it'll save me money, it'll I mean, actually the thing is, once I came here, that's when I realized, I mean, I thought it would be a little difficult for me to start with college classes right away, but as people might already know, like, the education system in India is very rigorous. So much of what I did in my first quarter, I had already done back home. So it was easier easier for me than most people. But yeah, it gets progressively difficult, and the difficult, it's like a logarithmic function. It's like it has a really high rate, so it progresses at a fast rate. It won't, like, it's a big jump. So they go into the depth really fast. Like, they will teach you about the topic, and then they will go a lot into the depth, which confuses.
Okay.
So so that's what's different about here. But so Washington has, like, a pretty similar, I mean, not a very, but apart from, like, the heat in Bombay, it's pretty similar weather, because it rains a lot in Bombay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, because it's surrounded by the sea.
By the sea, sure.
It gets very humid. It rains a lot. It rains a lot in Seattle. Not nearly as much in Bombay, but it does rain a lot in Seattle. So.
But right now
It's pretty sunny.
So nice.
So it's nice. It is nice.
And I looked at the 10-day forecast, or 14 day, and it's like sunshine for the next couple weeks at least.
Yeah,
so.
But right now the thing is, like, all my friends back at home, it's raining right now in Bombay,
okay.
so I'm missing it.
Ah.
I asked someone who was from Washington, I'm like, when are the rains coming?
They'll come in October, maybe?
Yeah, it's a while.
Yeah, it'll be a while. This is the best time of year in Seattle, for sure.
Yeah, but then obviously, because it's still humid, it does get very hot. Because, like, the accommodation that I'm staying, it doesn't have a fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it doesn't have an air conditioner. It just has a thermostat which goes up to 60 degrees. So that's not enough for me.
Right.
So I had to buy a fan.
Okay.
But works out.
No, fan's okay. Air conditioning's better, but fan will work out.
Yeah, but fans will work out. I mean, as a student, you don't want to have so many assets linked to you, because you have to move around.
Sure, yeah. You don't want to have to carry it around. Well, when I was growing up, most cars that you would buy, this is a long time ago, they didn't even have air conditioning back in the day. Now all cars have air conditioning, but it's very strange.
You just roll the window down.
Yeah, so the High School Completion Plus program, just to touch on what she's talking about, if you are a student that's at least 16 years of age, I think it actually might be 15 and a half, but you need to be 16, and you do your junior, senior year, or just your senior year here at Seattle colleges, and at the end of your time, when you earn your associate's degree, you can also get your
high school
diploma from the state of Washington. So it's an amazing opportunity. So if you're going to a school, say overseas, and you're paying quite a bit in tuition, you can save those last 2 years of tuition and just get started on your university work right away. So I know that there's a lot. I was just talking to a guy from India today because I was talking about Pakistan, and the two countries have a lot of misconceptions about what is a community college. Like, maybe they think, it's a community college, so it's not so great, or it's for poor people, or whatever. What have you discovered about community colleges since you've been here?
It's not quite like that. It's most of the people are here because they're smart and they want to save money.
Right.
So once you are done with your associates, you transfer to a proper 4-year university.
Exactly.
And you get your bachelor's, and on the bachelor's you have the name of the university, and you've spent half the money that you would spend if you attended all 4 years at that university.
Exactly.
From what I've heard, it is difficult to get into a university as a high school senior than it is as a transfer student. So I mean, both ways, they're pretty smart to choose community college over a 4-year university for the first 2 years, especially if someone's not that privileged. And they really want to change the circumstances that their family is in. They really know about what they want to do. That shows maturity, and it's nice. And also even when you can't, even if you can't afford community college, there are a lot of funding opportunities. There's scholarships, there's financial aid. If you're a citizen, there's financial aid. If you're an international student, you still have scholarships available. So you can always apply to those. And
did you apply for that?
Yes.
Did you? Have you heard?
Yes.
Did you get it?
Yes.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really great. I was so happy about it.
Wow,
So-
you're the second student I've talked to who's got that foundation scholarship.
That is so
Well,
cool.
congratulations. That's
Thank
great.
you so much. So it is quite nice. As an international student, there are a bit of hiccups during the process. Like right now, I'm sorting some stuff out, but I mean that's part of it.
Part of normal, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a big thing to basically now I'm just paying for accommodation and food.
Wow, that's great.
It is. So I'm spending almost. I mean, so the accommodation is pretty high. The food is okay. But now at least I'm spending half of what I had planned to spend when I came here. So that's quite nice too.
And we've talked about this on previous episodes, but if you're a new listener or you don't know, every spring, Seattle Colleges has what's called a foundation scholarship that you can apply for. What was the application process? Is there forms to fill out?
Oh yeah, it's quite lengthy. So there's forms that you have to fill. Then there's all these essay questions about yourself and stuff. So and then there's there's recommendations.
Oh.
So there's 2 recommendations that you have to get. So spring was my first quarter. So the recommendation that you have to get is either from someone you know outside. So there's one that you have to get from someone outside your academic circle, and one that is in your academic circle, like teachers. So they prefer teachers in the college, so that they have like a connect to them, so that if they want to reach out, they can.
Right.
But spring was my first quarter. I didn't know anyone. So they said it was okay to reach out to someone you previously know, like a teacher. So I did, and so that one was my academic counselor who helped me get here.
That sounds great.
And one was a teacher,
right?
That I had for quite some time. So he knew me really well. So he was really able to fill those things out. And from what I heard, I mean, we're not allowed to see what their response is, because obviously, I mean, we can't influence the response. But from what I heard, it was pretty lengthy also.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, but it's good that they go through so much of information to really choose who they should award it to.
So if you're a current student at Seattle Colleges and you're listening to this, make sure in the spring that you apply for the foundation scholarship, because like I said, I've talked to you and one other person that has received, I mean, the other girl I talked to, she received a pretty substantial amount of money. So it's like, get out there, guys, because there is money to be had. I always get asked at fairs, you guys, do you have scholarships, that kind of stuff. You have to be enrolled first in order to apply. Yeah. But once you're here, you can do that. It won't cover everything.
It won't.
But it will help,
for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's really
quite a bit, especially as an international student, because it's like INR USD, it's huge, like the difference. So it really helps out a lot, like because your parents, even though they've saved up, sometimes you as like a child, like you feel guilty about spending so much money.
Sure.
I do, especially. So once I got this, I was like, oh my God, it's such a relief.
Yes.
To know that your parents have some sort of help with everything.
And you just recently got an on-campus job.
That too.
That's really great. Yes. Tell the audience about that.
Yeah. So here at Central, there are a lot of like posters, and they put up job openings everywhere. And so this was one opening at the Student Leadership Building. It was I applied for a club coordinator. So I applied for 2 roles. One was the club coordinator. One was at Information Central. So I got the club coordinator one. So like basically I had an interview. It was together. So there's like interconnected departments. So it was just one interview for both.
Oh, that's nice.
And they chose me for the club coordinator. So that's pretty nice actually. I'm starting first week of September.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's some fall.
And do you know how many hours you'll work per
Not
week?
as of yet, but
Okay.
it's around like the specified hours. Like I can work 19 hours in a week, but I think I'm gonna work around 10 to 12 hours.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, that's quite nice, and it's minimum wage, Seattle minimum wage. It's $18.96.
Which is a lot of money, really.
It is.
That's crazy
Definitely.
money. For a student, yeah, that's amazing. So, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, and there's other opportunities that I heard about as well, but I didn't qualify for. So keep looking out, even though you think that you might not get it. Just go out and apply. You never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
And the thing about Seattle colleges is actually we have 3 campuses. We have the North, the Central, and the South campus. So I know students that go to school here at Central, but they have a job at North, or they have classes at North and they come to Central or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of opportunity.
Definitely. So like when I started out, when I was looking for jobs, I asked the people, the great people in the IP office, and they actually knew about openings in the South campus.
Oh, really?
But I didn't. I mean, I preferred working at this like in my own home campus because I live right here.
Sure.
So yeah. So even if I probably didn't go through with this one, maybe I would have applied there. But this did happen. So
Right.
been pretty lucky.
I get asked a lot from international students, hey, are there jobs? And the truth is there are jobs. You do have to do a little work to find them.
Yes.
But they're out there, and you can network and talk to other students,
yeah.
and you'll find them. So there's, if you are one of those people that don't have a lot of money and choose community colleges to get your start, this is great. You can get the scholarship we just talked about, and you can get on-campus
Yeah,
employment. So those are good help.
Yeah. Although you do have to pay taxes.
Oh, well. Yeah, you still come out ahead quite a bit. It'll be okay.
Yeah. No, I'm
Hey,
it's just
I had to pay taxes when I lived in China, so I know what it's like.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I had to
because
pay
you were
taxes.
earning there?
Yeah, because I was working there, so I had to pay that. So it was interesting. Well, there's about 1 million questions in my head, and we only have so much time. You've been here a quarter now, so let's talk about how the first quarter went. What were the biggest surprises about being in America that you just did not expect? How were the classes and the teachers themselves? How many of them were in person? How many of them were online? Those kinds of things that people will want to know about.
Right. So the first quarter, I took a chemistry class, an English class, a math class, and
Which math class did you take?
142, I guess. Yeah, I think it was. It was 140.
Which is what, calculus? Or
Pre-calc.
pre-calc, okay.
Yeah, and then next quarter I'm taking calculus.
Okay.
Yeah. So those were the classes that I took. I think there was another class that there was this introduction to American colleges class that's a compulsory class that we have to take. It's just 2 credits, but it's still a lot of work.
Is it?
I don't know why. It is a lot of work. Yeah. So I had 4 classes. So
Okay.
that was quite a bit, but
So a total of 14 credits?
No, it was 17.
Oh, because chemistry is a lab class.
No, it's just 5. So it's 5 chemistry, 5 math,
Gotcha.
2 ISD, and 5 English.
Wow, interesting.
So the English class was a self-paced class. Yeah, so it's so everything's posted online on Canvas, which is the portal for Seattle colleges. So everything's posted, and you just have to submit assignments. I am pretty bad with keeping up with self-paced classes. So yeah, but I did like go through with it, and it was quite nice actually the first quarter. So
first of all, I got to say, I find that hard to believe because I'll tell the listeners. So before she made the decision to come to Seattle colleges, we communicated a lot over the internet, and she's probably one of the most organized, does her research kind of people I've met. So yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, the thing was that it was my first quarter. It was like, it was a lot, like, there was changes from what I was used to. So, yeah, you talked about, like, the biggest surprise that was for me, and what I didn't expect was, I mean, I don't know if I didn't expect it, but it's still a little hard to get accustomed to it. So, in India, your final grade is just dependent upon your exams, like the exams that you take throughout the academic year. But here, that's not true.
That's right.
Here, everything is integrated. All the quizzes, all the homework, all the tests that you take, and it's aggregated based on weightage, and then you get your final grade. So it's not just... So I had a habit of, like, cramming a week or two before the exam, and then still getting a pretty... So the thing was, I never got out of the habit because it worked, right? So that's what I was used to. But I mean, it is... Now I've been studying more regularly.
Good.
Yeah, and so to keep up with all the assignments that I have throughout the week, and yeah, it's been quite nice. Like, the first quarter was good. It was a little, like, I could go out into the city more and explore more, spend more time with my friends. I had study groups, so that was nice.
That is nice.
Yeah.
How did you find them?
In my class.
Oh,
so we
great.
had the same class, and then sometimes we had different classes. So, like, someone who was taking a higher class than I am, or someone who's taking a lower class than I am, so we would help each other out.
That's very cool.
Because they've already done that before. So it was quite nice. We would sit... So as a STEM student, I'm part of the MESA club. So we would sit there, and then there were other people who we didn't know from our classes.
So MESA?
Yeah.
MESA?
Yes.
What does that stand for?
What that stands for? I am not sure.
Okay,
but it's a STEM club.
Oh, okay.
It's for all... It's open for, like, any STEM student can apply. And then there's a couple of criteria based on which you get in. There's GPA, and then there's other stuff.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, it depends on the number of credits you're taking and your GPA. So you have to, like, apply, and then if you get in, and then you can be a part of that club. And there are a lot of resources that the club gives. So actually, that's
cool.
a pretty good thing to talk about.
I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so the MESA club, it gives a lot of resources for you. So, like, over the summer, they will give you a list of internships that you can apply to, that you might be eligible for. The only problem is that most of those internships are not applicable for international students.
Right.
But it's still a great resource. Like, people should know about that.
But after you're done with your first 2 years, you would be available to do OPT if you want.
Yes.
So some of those connections might work out later.
Yeah, they would.
Are you planning? That's quite a ways away for you, but
Yeah.
you're not going to do OPT.
No.
You're going to go straight through.
Straight to university, yeah. That's what I'm planning as of now.
I figured you
things
would.
change.
Yeah. So the chemistry class, that kind of goes with your major.
It does.
So-
Yes, it was quite nice. So, like, the first class, like the class I had, that was General Chemistry 139, that didn't have a lab.
Oh,
But
it didn't.
Yeah, so it was quite nice because from my high school to here, the transition, it had quite a gap, like a couple of months gap. So so it was like a brush up, of all
great.
the things that I've done, and it really brought me to pace with the other students and what the teachers expect of me and how things are done here. Yeah, I was really grateful to have. So I think she's the department head. I'm not sure. Miss Dr. Marie Vilyaba. Yeah. So she was
I've
quite.
never met her.
Yeah. No, she's a great teacher, and she expects stuff from you. So it's a really great start. I mean, it's not very laid back, but it's not very rigorous.
Right.
So it's a great transition.
That's great. So now you've been in both systems. You were talking about the difference. Which do you kind of like better?
I mean, depends. So if I'm scoring well here, then maybe this. But if I don't score sometimes well on a class because of all the quizzes that I have to take, sometimes I was like, oh, I wish I could just, the total would be just out of the exams because I would study for that. But I think all in all, this system's a little better because it integrates all of the aspects of a course.
Mm.
You're just not focusing on the theoretical aspects, because we have labs.
Mm-hmm.
So the chemistry class that I'm taking right now, it has a lab,
Oh,
and
that's
quite a great percentage of the total depends upon the lab.
Sure.
So even though like in India we did our grades, still labs mattered, but nothing else did matter. But here everything accounts, like all the lab reports, all the homework, everything has
Sometimes
to be
just attending class is part of your grade.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. Not all
yeah.
teachers are that way, but some are.
Some are, yeah, I've heard.
Yeah, I've taught in both systems, and I got to say, I lean towards the American system, mainly because I enjoy being able to reward students that give consistent effort throughout the period of time.
That's true.
Like when I was in China, we were more on like the British system. I was working for a British university, so it all came down to the end, and that is, you'd have students that just wouldn't really participate or do much during the year.
But they would still get a good grade.
But then they would, do whatever they needed to do for the exam. And I just didn't think that was as...
I mean, it isn't, because it doesn't focus on all-round development as a person. It's, I think this system's better in ways to integrate, like, the holistic development. So it's quite nice. I mean, you work on all aspects, not just one, not just the thing that you have to do to get a good grade, but all the aspects of the class, like the homework and participating in class and everything. So that's quite nice.
Well, we're at 25 minutes. I usually cut these off a little bit, but I do want to just do at least one fun thing and ask about food, because you and I were having a conversation about food. Everybody, loves Indian food that I know, most of the people around here. So you have had some good experiences.
And some not so good experiences, so because there's a huge Indian population in Seattle, there are a lot of Indian restaurants, and there's a lot to try from. And a lot of them are good. I mean, so the thing is, I will definitely compare it to back home, which is not right, because this is not home. I mean, this is not India. So, but I think I've had food in other states, so I think this is quite nice, because it's just because of the population, so people know what to expect out of Indian food, and most like Indian people want to take their American friends to Indian restaurants to tell them about our culture, because a lot of our culture stems from food.
For sure,
we love our food.
It's true, and for good reason.
Yeah, it is quite nice. So there are a lot of places around here. There's a lot of Vietnamese places.
It's true.
Yeah, there's a lot of Asian food, like Japanese and Korean, and I've seen so many outlets.
Right.
A lot of them.
Yeah, we're the gateway to Asia here in Seattle. So
yeah, it's quite nice, and
especially
if you don't go down to like U District,
it's a great place to go.
Yeah, so many outlets and especially affordable, because a lot of the people are students.
Right. So those of you who don't know Seattle very well, we're in Capitol Hill here at Seattle Central campus. And then if you get on the subway, you can just go 2 stops.
Yes.
First one is UW and then U District. So the University of Washington is your first stop, and that's, this kind of the south end of the campus. And then U District is north end of the campus, and where most of the restaurants and businesses are.
Right.
It's a cool part of town. I like it a lot.
It is. It's very, and especially like as a student, you feel included there, because the UW is, is based there, and there are a lot of students.
It's a big campus.
Yeah.
Have you walked around the campus?
Yes.
It's really pretty.
Yes, so pretty.
I like it.
The library, my God.
I know, right?
The library is the best thing I've ever seen, especially from the inside. Like the ceilings are non-existent. Basically no ceiling.
Are you considering UW as a transfer?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of our students that are here end up transferring to the University of Washington, because it's just a great school. But, University of Washington has 2 other campuses too. They have Bothell and they have Tacoma.
Tacoma, yeah.
Have you seen either one of those campuses? No. Yeah, neither have I. You don't have a car, right?
I don't. Yeah, but the public transport's great.
So great. Yeah.
It is very convenient, especially like I'm from Bombay, so I'm used to the public transport,
Right.
and it's something that I won't shy away from. Like I have friends who don't prefer using it, but they don't have an option.
Why do they not want to?
Because they're just not used to it, because their countries probably didn't have it.
Okay.
So they're probably used to getting around in a car or walking.
True.
And even though Seattle is a very walkable city.
Very walkable, yeah.
Like apart from the altitude, like
there's some hills.
Yeah, there's some hills.
It's true, but that keeps you in good health. So go walk.
Look at it that way.
And you can take from here right out front. You can take the streetcar all the way down to like Pike Place, I think, and walk it around.
Yeah,
Chinatown.
It's quite nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we are a very international city. A lot of international students here at Seattle colleges. Have you met a lot of the other international students?
I would say so. Yeah,
that's good.
I've met my room. I live in the campus accommodation, so my roommates were Vietnamese.
Oh yeah.
And recently, I've made a friend who's Nepali. So
Cool.
we're neighbors.
Nice.
Yeah, it's quite nice. And then you talk about what cultural similarities you have and how that corresponds to other aspects of your life. There have been a couple other people. So I recently made out the next door neighbor. He is from India. He's like half Korean, half Indian.
Oh, that's an interesting combination.
That is very, very interesting. But he did grow up in India.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't spoken to him a lot, but but that's very cool.
So Vietnamese roommates, so, Vietnam has great cuisine as well, but very different than India.
Very different.
So do you get to sample what they're cooking?
I did, yeah. So I used to cook and then they used to cook.
Ah, cool.
So we used to share, here and there. And sometimes it's a little, because they eat a lot of meat.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not a huge fan of beef and pork. I mean, I do eat pork, but not a huge fan of beef because...
Sure.
Yeah, because we're just not... We just never had it as children, right? Because it's difficult for your palate to adapt to that, but obviously you have to try.
Sure,
so you're
get
getting
the
this opportunity.
Yeah. And culturally, I mean, you're living with a different culture, really. I mean, other than food, I mean, has it been an adjustment to?
So there's a language barrier.
For sure.
So they couldn't speak English very well.
Okay.
So they were like bridge students, the SCIE students.
Right.
So they were only taking English classes, but even then, they were like in the early stages.
Sure.
So
that's good for them to speak with you.
So they couldn't communicate very well, but somehow we made it work.
That's great.
Yeah, so it was quite nice having them.
We get asked about housing a lot, and I think you may be one of the first guests, I can't remember, that actually lives there. So can you just real briefly talk about what's it like? Do you feel safe? Laundry? Is there a common area? Tell us about, is it noisy? Is it quiet? Can you study there? Do you feel like you have to go to the library to study? Tell us about your experience.
Yeah. So it is very quiet. Very, very, like literally nothing. You can't even tell that it's other people living.
Oh, that's good.
It is very quiet. And then there's laundry on each floor. So there's 3 floors. And there's laundry. So there's actually 4 floors, but like the ground and then 3.
Okay.
So there's laundry on each floor. There's washers and dryers on each one, and there's $2 for a cycle of washing and 2 for drying.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little expensive, but okay.
It is. But as a student, I mean, I at least don't have too many clothes to wash at the end of the week. So, I mean, I do it once a week, once in 2 weeks. So that's quite nice.
That's
it's
affordable.
Okay, yeah. And then, there is a lobby area that you enter the lift from, but you don't see a lot of people so I would want people to come out more, and because I am a very friendly person, I want to socialize.
The community,
but it is a little lacking because people just they have their own lives and they don't want to step out of it. So it would be nice to like integrate a community aspect into the housing, but as of now, it's not very present.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Other than the roommates you have and maybe your neighbor or whatever. That's a good thing. I'll mention that to Olivia because I think that's a really good point. You know, when I was in the Air Force, we lived in dormitories, of course, and you know we'd have our rooms, but there would always be a common area,
Right.
so you could go in there and hang out and watch TV with other people or use the microwave or whatever. So yeah, I get it. That's a cool
but the
thing.
the problem here is that all facility, it's a good thing that all facilities are in the room. Like you have a kitchen and you have
That's right.
everything. So you don't really need to go out. That's why people don't.
Right.
So yeah, but it'll be great to have events only for people who live in the accommodation so
I
that
agree.
they can, meet.
That's
Because
cool.
we don't know who's living next door.
Maybe what you could do is go start knocking on doors and go, I'm starting a WhatsApp group for the people that live in the dorms. And then you
Yeah.
guys can just start getting to know each other.
Sure.
Let me know if you do, because I want to join. Because I'm always looking for ways to just communicate with students in case something comes up. You know, it's like, hey, did you guys hear about this event? Like they did yesterday. You didn't get a chance to go,
Yeah.
but there was a big...
There was a big international student.
they went to the
picnic.
park and had a picnic, which was really cool.
Yeah, everyone brought snacks to share and drinks to share, so it was nice.
Well, we will be talking again in about 3 or 4 months after your next quarter's end, maybe before fall starts or something, just to see how the summer ended up going. Do you have plans for the summer? Are you going to go hiking? You're going to go...
Yeah, I want to, but I have to find someone to go with because I don't have a car.
Well, it's funny, my wife and I, we just went to North Cascades National Park last weekend. And I said to her, I go, we should just send a message out to the WhatsApp group and see if anybody wants to go with us because we have an extra seat in the car.
That is so
we
cool.
could have taken somebody, but then she was a little nervous. She's like, you probably want to check with your boss to make sure
that's
there's
allowed,
no insurance problems or if it's allowed. So if I get the green light, then I would probably use the WhatsApp group to just say, hey, we're going. If you want to go, you're welcome to sit. Whatever. So we'll see. I'll keep you in mind if we go somewhere again because I like to go.
Yeah,
explore
I love hiking.
and,
It's so cool. Like the trails, especially the Pacific Northwest. It is beautiful.
Well, and last weekend when we were at North Cascades, it was just crazy beautiful, and there weren't that many people there.
Yeah,
it was awesome. It's one of the. I think I read it's one of the top 10 least visited national parks in the United States. So when you go, it's not like Yellowstone where there's a million people, it's really nice. We'll keep you in mind.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Great to talk to you. Any last advice that you've, let's put it this way. So you've been here now for a quarter. Any wisdom you want to share with people back in your region? It's like if you have young people in India or Nepal or wherever, and they're kind of thinking about coming to the United States, but they're nervous. What wisdom would you share with them?
You figure it out along the way. So take the first step. That's all. And have faith. Just have faith. That's
good.
There's obviously going to be you're going to fall into a pit sometimes, but you get back up and you just work along.
Yeah.
You just have to have that. If you know that you want to come, if you want to get out of where you are, for whatever reason you have to earn money, to just move to a new place or whatever, just if you know that you want to do that, research, and you have to look out for places that you actually want to go and you actually want to have a life or whatever. So but you have to take that first step, right? And then if you're just scared about, what if this happens, but it might, but the opposite, the good thing to that might happen.
Right.
So
good wisdom. All right, we'll see you soon then.
Yeah, definitely.
Good to see you again. All right, everybody, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Conversations With is painstakingly crafted for you by the Seattle College's International Programs Department and supported by the lovely folks here on our campus. This show is produced and edited by me, Evan Franulovich. We welcome your emails and questions about coming to Seattle Colleges. Please reach out to us via our website or just give us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts as this helps others discover the show. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or YouTube at Seattle Colleges INTL. That's Seattle Colleges INTL. And be sure to check out all of the shows here on Conversations With. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.